Well, hello there. We were off last week, but we're back. Isn't that right, Sarge? Well, hello there. How are you? I've already prepped my face with some of what's left of my Village Barber shaving oil. And my razor is going to be this twist to open non-adjustable Schick Krona razor. Apparently, at some point, Schick went into the business of making double-edge razors, and probably right around the same time that Gillette made some injector razors. It's twin injector razor, I believe. And I forgot to mention, in there, in my razor that is, on its, oh boy, I think it's going to be its third use. Let me look here. I put a dot. Yeah, there's two dots on there. That means it's been used twice, so it'll be on its third use, one of these bluebird blades. Okay, we'll try to get back to normal here. My soap is going to be this Razor Emporium small batch barber shop shaving soap, right there. And I've lathered in it's the Captain's Choice, the lighter of their two copper shaving bowls, right there. And my brush is going to be this Zenith horsehair brush with a copper handle. So we'll go ahead and try to get a lather going here. Hope you're all doing well out there. Yes, sir. It took a lot of lathering to get, there's nothing wrong with this soap, but it's just using a different brush. For a horsehair brush, this one has a pretty stiff knot, and it's a very large knot. I don't know what the millimeters on that are, but that's what the measurement is. I don't know what that is, but it's an attractive brush, and I like it better than the Zenith boar. I have one of their cheaper boar brushes. This horsehair brush cost about $40 US, and the let's see, the one I have that's a boar knot is one of their cheaper ones with a plastic handle, so it was only about $10 US when I got it. The price on that might have gone up a little bit with inflation. But this was about 40, and I think I also saw the same or a similar brush for 50. I got this off eBay, and somebody else was offering it there for a little bit more, a little bit pricier, but I think it was the same brush. And here I go. I'll wet the razor. And here we go. Pass number one with the grain. About 2.5, almost 3 days worth of growth here. Closer to 2.5 though. Or is it? Maybe it's getting closer to 3 days worth now. Well, I hope the weather is good in your neck of the woods. It's been okay here. It's warmed up considerably, but it still cools off at night. Certain nights it cools off a little bit more than I'd like it to, down to the mid to lower 50s still. I've got some seeds I don't want to plant in my garden because they say you're not supposed to plant them until until even the nighttime temperatures are at least in the upper 60s. Excuse me while I rinse. I've used this soap on camera before. The only thing new I've shown you so far is that brush. I think I only have one other brush with as big a knot, or it's just as big of a brush overall as this one, and that is an inexpensive but very nice boar brush from Omega. They're 10049, that model of brush, which you used to be able to get, I think, for like $7. Maybe it's 8, 9, or 10 or more now, but I really like the knot on that one, even though it's just a boar knot. It's a very, it's just perfect. It seems like it's stiff enough, but it's also soft enough, and it's truly one of those knots that the more you use it, the better it gets. It breaks in rather nicely and fairly quickly. I don't know how long it might take to fully break in this horsehair knot on this brush, if at all. My milkweed, which is what I'm really waiting to have bloom out back, it continues to grow, and I wasn't sure if it would make it because I planted it a bit earlier than I should have, and it was subject to a couple of very light, quick frosts, so I wasn't too worried about that, but it was subject to one night of a hard frost, I guess you could call it, and that night I put a towel and a big rock over it because the roots had not, well, the roots were in the ground, but nothing substantial had popped out of the ground yet, except for a tiny little sprout that I had covered with just the towel. And it seems to have made it through all right. I'll be right back, and then we'll do pass number 2 across the grain. Okay, we'll go across the grain now for the second pass. Yeah, I guess I got just about as good of a lather as I would with any other soap using this soap, but because of the new brush and maybe me just not being used to the new brush and the fact that the brush is bigger than one I might normally use with this soap, it took me about 3 minutes to get as good of a lather with this in the tub and in the bowl. Seems like I had to work for it, but again, I don't think it's the soap, although the soap is a fairly hard soap. Not as hard perhaps as some, but it's a fairly hard soap. But I don't think it's the soap that made, at least not the soap alone, that made it difficult or time consuming really for me to lather. I'll see guys on the other channels. Paul H is certainly one of them who seems to be able to whip up a lather so quickly. Of course, I know we have very hard water here. I've had people tell me I should go to the store and purchase soft water, maybe distilled water or just some kind of soft water that you can get at the grocery store. But I kind of don't want to make that a habit because I've got enough expensive habits and hobbies right now. And although a gallon of that kind of water costs perhaps $1 is all, it's still, over time, having enough water for all my shaves could add up. Excuse me. I've got some nice aftershave that is different. It's new to me and to this channel, so that's coming later here. Later in this same shave. I've got just a few new products this month. So for the foreseeable future, the new products may not be mentioned in the title of the shaves because they tend to be ancillary products such as aftershaves. Except in one case, I do have a new soap coming, and it's not new to the world, but I haven't seen it used a lot, and I don't want to give it away. I don't want to say anything else. It'll be hopefully a bit of a surprise. But nothing super fancy and nothing really expensive either. Just something that can be hard to get, a type of soap that can be hard to get depending. And again, I'll talk more about that when that arrives and when I use it on camera. But I'll be right back for a third pass against the grain. Okay, we'll go against the grain now. I'll start on my neck for this pass. This isn't a bad blade, but this might be my final use of it. Third use of this bluebird blade. Going by all my uses of this blade over the last few years, not this particular blade, but this brand of blade, I would give these blades a B minus at worst, I think. They are pretty comfortable and sharp enough, although this one might be, not right now, but soon ready to retire. I think it can get me through this shave just fine, which would be 3 uses of the blade in total. Okay. Sorry I wasn't around last week, but I was just exhausted. Well, I bought a kitty backpack to carry Sarge around in, so sometimes I walk him around the neighborhood. I don't go too far because he's a big boy, and I know it's good exercise for me and it's good for him to get out, although when he first gets in the backpack, he can complain a little bit, but I think he gets used to it. This blade doesn't feel tuggy yet per se. It still feels smooth, but just maybe a little dull, if that's the right word. And I mean just a little bit, not a lot. It's still, it's decent. It's not, you know, it's not as sharp as a feather blade or a lot of other blades. Actually, I would like to get some more Gillette thin blades if I can find those. Do they still make those? I'll have to look. The thin or super thin or whatever they might have available. I had an older razor that came with one of those, and so far that's my favorite Gillette blade. This one was called the thin Gillette blade with a kind of a red or reddish label. Maybe this blade's duller than I said, but it still feels relatively comfortable on my face. Your mileage, especially after 2 shaves with one of these blades, and being on the 3rd use, your mileage may vary. I've definitely used more efficient blades, which usually means sharper for me, and I've also used more comfortable blades, but this one could be a lot worse. And with so many blades that a person could try, forgive me if I'm not more exact in my explanation of these blades, but here you always get my off-the-cuff remarks, kind of right off the top of my head. Okay, well, that's it for that pass. I'll be right back for pickups. Well, Sarge is here, and we'd like to welcome you to pickup time. Isn't that right, Sarge? You know, look over there and see the magic clock, Sarge. See? Up there. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there it is. I love you, Sarge. I love you. I'm going to rinse this. And just real quick, I'm going to try to go over this again. Pretty good slickness on that soap, by the way. Except for a couple of spots that I was trying to perfect here. I'd have to call this a BBS shave. I did kind of have to work for it. There's still some places here and there. I don't know how long I want to stand here and gild the lily, so to speak, so I think I'll stop about there, and I'll be right back after I rinse my face and a few other things. Okay, I guess I'll dry off the face here now. Wow. It feels good, and the towel's pretty soft again this time. Oh, it feels good, folks. Yeah, very nice. Very nice indeed. Oh, let's see. Where am I here? Oh, thank you, Mr. Towel. I'll put you back where you go. Ooh, and then I'll start a brief recap and put the finishing touches on the shave here. Okay. Well, I prepped my face before I got on camera with Village Barber shaving oil. And my razor, oh, here it is. I put it in the solution there to try to clean it up a little bit. But it's the Schick Krona Twist to Open Non-Adjustable double edge. In there on its first use, sorry, not on its first use, on its third use, was one of these bluebird blades. And my soap has been this Razor Emporium Barber Shop shaving soap, small batch shaving soap, in a nice big tub. And my brush has been this Zenith horsehair brush with a copper handle. Just a little bit of advice: if you get one of these, you might want to get yourself some Brasso. This needs cleaned up pretty often, this copper handle. It seems like it just gets a little bit wet, it starts tarnishing. Whereas this other thing, the bowl that I lathered in, the Captain's Choice, the lighter of their two copper bowls, you can put the Brasso liquid, cleaning liquid, to this, but it doesn't seem to need it as often. Just make sure you keep it dry. Okay, and where am I now? Okay, I'm going to reach over here. I think I've covered everything, so I'm going to get one of these Dickinson's Witch Hazel Cleansing Cloth. Take that out of there and press that down to reseal it. And I guess I'll fold this out like that. A little bit of sting because these have alcohol in them, but they also have aloe, which is nice. I think possibly their liquid, their bottles of just regular witch hazel, which do also have alcohol, but I think those may have aloe in them too. The bottles of the TN Dickinsons. I think they've got aloe. I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to look. I've got one of those, a couple of those bottles around here. Maybe next time I use them, I'll check. But there, that's pretty nice. This, you don't flush these. Just put them in the trash can when you're done with them. Okay, and once again, that's the TN Dickinson's Witch Hazel Cleansing Cloths. Those are very nice. And now I'm going to reach over here for something new to me anyway. It's been around a long time, and I've seen it a lot. The Royal Copenhagen Aftershave. And that is blue or bluish. Yeah, I did sniff this. I haven't used it yet, but it smelled a little bit like aqua velva. Whoa. That's kind of got that bottle's kind of got a big restrictor, a not so narrow restrictor, like an aqua velva bottle, the plastic. or maybe even the glass Aqua Velva bottle also has a not so narrow restrictor, so be careful. I've got it all over my hands, but that's okay. Let's see, I put some on the back of my neck. I'm feeling some sting there. Well, if you put your nose to the bottle, this smells like Aqua Velva, but putting it on my skin, it smells a little bit fancier than that. In a way, it almost smells as if somebody took Aqua Velva and put some nice talc in it. Anyway, let me screw the lid back on this and show you again. It's the Royal Copenhagen aftershave. I'm running over on time here. I gotta be careful. I don't know how I've managed. So maybe this will be one of my longer videos. Finally, the Nivea Men original post-shave balm. I don't know how I'm gonna have to cut some of the fat out of this video. I don't know if I'll be able to do that or not without cutting out a lot of content. Oh, that's nice. Oh, and that goes so well with that aftershave. This is all so nice. I smell great. That's it, folks. I gotta get out of here. Bye-bye.